A dark athletic shoe firmly hits the ground. The perspective widens to a city street, showing several people walking. A young man runs with determination along the sidewalk in the bright sunlight. The young man continues running intensely, his expression focused. He is revealed to be Ju In-gong. His parents named him with the hope he would become an important figure in the world. Ju In-gong slows his pace as he enters a shop. Two other men greet him as he arrives. He reflects that he was often mocked because of his name. Despite the mockery, he did not care because he still desires to become the main character. Ju In-gong asks the blonde man if he managed to save the game copy. The blonde man confirms this, stating he saved a copy specifically for Ju In-gong. The game is the remake of Night Saga, titled Night Saga RE. The story focuses on the conflict between humans and demons. The game offers a dual protagonist choice. The player can control the human hero, Locke, a young man in shining armor from a bustling fantasy world. The second option is the Demon King's eldest son, Zephyr Ragnaros, who stands in a red-skied, desolate land. Zephyr has long red hair and intense yellow eyes. The goal is to adventure around the world and complete various missions. Ju In-gong is shown sitting in a dark room, playing on a console. He has beaten the original game over 10 times since he was young, stating he knows everything there is to know about it. He dons a sophisticated VR headset. The game is the first title to be released after the advent of advanced VR technology. Ju In-gong rushes back into the room toward his gaming chair. He holds the Night Saga game cartridge in his hand. He settles into the chair, fully prepared with the headset in place. The cartridge is clicked into the headset's main slot, initiating the game. Ju In-gong is settled in the high-tech chair, prepared for immersion. He determines he will take it easy for today and play the game for 8 hours straight. A confident smirk appears on his face as the VR system begins its initiation sequence. Bright blue and pink lights envelop his body as he is fully pulled into the digitized game world. The first sight is a brilliant circular window and a high ceiling. The character expresses confusion upon arriving. He looks around the spacious, furnished room, questioning if he is already inside the game. He reflects that a true game beginning should typically start with the main character waking up in a bed. A close-up on his profile reveals a shocking detail. His ears are now sharp and pointed. The character looks down at his new form. Seeing his white hair, red eyes, and pointed ears, he questions the identity of the character he now possesses. A voice from off-panel asks the protagonist if he is still sleeping. A massive green-skinned orc, wearing heavy armor, violently pulls back a curtain. The orc demands the protagonist hurry, stating they have important things to do today. The protagonist registers the sight with a point of shock. The protagonist marvels at the incredible realism of the environment, claiming the graphics are insane, like real life. The orc reacts with bewilderment, questioning the unfamiliar word graphics. The player questions whether he is even capable of communicating with the orc NPC. In-gong notes that this level of complex interaction was never featured in the game advertisements. The confused player nervously decides to ask the orc for his name. The orc becomes offended, asking if the white-haired player has already forgotten his name, which is revealed to be Karak. Ju In-gong repeats the name in confused disbelief. Karak addresses the player, calling him Prince Shutra, and states that everyone is currently waiting for him. The orc demands the prince hurry. The shocked player remains silent. In-gong instantly recognizes the name from the game's lore. Shutra Ignis, the Demon King's 9th son. The white-haired character realizes he never had the opportunity to select his starting character. The player confidently raises his hand, attempting to open the status window using a standard game command. A golden status window immediately materializes, confirming the action. In-gong observes his stats, seeing his level is only 1, with all core attributes also at a minimal value of 1. The Demon Prince laments his pitiful stats, questioning if he must play a trash character on the first run. In-gong notes that even an ordinary NPC would have better base attributes. The player then decides to check his available skills, and the screen immediately shifts to the Own Skills tab. The skill list reveals 2 shocking abilities, one of which is titled Conquest and Protagonist Setting Adjustment. The Demon Prince looks maniacal and questions if the ability does exactly what its unbelievable name suggests. The orc Karak once again urges Prince Shutra to come out from behind the curtains. The prince quickly complies. The white-haired prince moves forward to push the curtain aside and step out of the room. However, the moment he moves the curtain, In-gong is met with an immediate sight that leaves him wide-eyed and shocked. Stepping outside, In-gong is confronted by a massive, chaotic war camp. Huge orcs run past, moving equipment under a harsh, desolate sky, confirming they are in a high-stakes, violent area. Prince Shutra references his unique skill and nervously asks Karak why the atmosphere feels like they are currently in a war. Karak dismisses the question as nonsense and orders the Demon Prince to follow him immediately. The Demon Prince relays the immediate order given by the orc. They need to eliminate the group known as the Scarlet Lightning. The orc declares that this immediate conflict is their very first battle and orders the prince to move out. Ingong panics, demanding they wait and questioning what happened to the game's tutorial. The central issue is revealed. The Scarlet Lightning Orc tribe has formed a military force and launched an immediate uprising. The current military objective requires Prince Shutra to resolve the uprising alongside the 7th prince and the 8th princess. The newly arrived Demon Prince is left anxious and overwhelmed by the magnitude of the sudden high-stakes military mission. Prince Shutra questions the small party size, asking if they are truly only taking 10 people for a war. Karak confirms the number. Shutra then questions Karak about the prior plan to only patrol today. Karak, finding Shutra's behavior odd, asks if the Demon Prince ate something that made him sick. Shutra offers no immediate reply. The Demon Prince, now standing in a forest, concentrates and stretches out his hand. A glowing golden system symbol materializes in the air before him. Ingong knew there had to be a mini-map and notes that its presence makes things much more convenient. He resolves to keep the map displayed at all times. Looking closer at the display, Prince Shutra notices a hidden path on the map and wonders if its appearance signifies a special event. Karak leans in to look at the map and immediately complains, stating that using the route shown would take forever. Ignoring the orc's complaint, Prince Shutra turns and tells Karak to follow him, claiming he knows a much faster route. Karak is left confused by the sudden change in plans. The newly chosen route immediately leads the prince and Karak to a large ominous archway. The ominous stone archway is revealed to be a massive sealed metal gate, illuminated by a mysterious light. Karak is stunned by the gate's appearance and asks the prince how he found the place, questioning if he possesses magic. Shutra dismisses the question as nonsense. Slightly breathless from the tension, Karak asks Prince Shutra if he is all right, because the Demon Prince looks extremely tired, panting heavily from the exertion. Ingong internally notes his lack of stamina, realizing that a level 1 character would be extremely unfit and easily exhausted. Despite his exhaustion, Shutra takes a determined step forward and instructs Karak to check whether the massive doors will open for them. An intense sudden surge of golden and red energy erupts from the Demon Prince's body. Shutra looks shocked and is instantly enveloped in the powerful, mysterious aura. The white-haired prince yells in utter surprise at the sudden explosion of power. The energy surge culminates in a powerful level-up effect around the Demon Prince. A system message confirms that Prince Shutra has leveled up, leaving him speechless. Shutra questions how he could have possibly leveled up simply from walking around, expressing utter disbelief. Looking at his updated stats, he sees his base attributes have increased substantially, and he has gained 2 extra skill points. He concludes that the power boost is absolutely insane. The Demon Prince shakes off his surprise, now showing a focused expression. Karak impatiently tells Shutra to hurry up and move out, and the prince confirms he is following. A confident smirk spreads across the Demon Prince's face as he turns his thoughts to something far more important. The Demon Prince focuses on the unique skill he acquired. Protagonist setting adjustment level 1. Ingong makes a crucial realization. The skill grants the character plot armor, suggesting powerful benefits linked to the central hero. The scene abruptly shifts, showing a dark, icy, and deeply cavernous environment. Walking deeper into the cold cavern, Shutra hypothesizes that dwarves must have dug the structure. Karak expresses surprise, believing dwarves do not exist in the demon realm. Karak clarifies that dwarves used to exist but are not found there anymore. Shutra asks if they moved out of the demonic realm, but the orc can only offer uncertain knowledge. Karak gasps in astonishment. They found a completely unprotected and well-placed forgotten treasure deep in the cave. Yeah, nothing suspicious. 2 orcs excitedly hold up glittering gold weapons, exclaiming their successful discovery of treasure. The orcs conclude that the dwarves must have stupidly abandoned all their valuable weapons in the site. They decide to take all the treasure, even if it proves too heavy, and begin to laugh maniacally. The Demon Prince stands calmly amidst the treasure, offering a silent response as he observes the orcs' greed and plots his next move. As Prince Shutra reaches for the shining weapons, 3 system warnings appear, stating his level, strength, and magic are all insufficient. Shutra clicks his tongue in annoyance. The player decides he will take the items regardless, and begins to search for the command to open his game inventory. Shutra points at a glowing weapon, and a command box for take appears. With a flash of light, the item is instantly stored in his inventory. The full inventory window materializes, showing a grid of available storage slots. Ingong quickly figures out the command. He just has to touch an item and mentally confirm that he wants to take it. The constantly displayed map suddenly shows several enemy locations marked by red dots. The demon prince stares at the unexpected display, realizing the map is tracking nearby threats, and reacts with a puzzled expression. Prince Shutra turns and shouts a clear command to his orc allies, ordering them all to back away from the immediate area. The surprised orc allies pause and express confusion at the sudden, unexpected order from the prince. A powerful purple-red energy bursts from the ground between the demon prince and the enemy orcs, causing the earth to crack dramatically. The immense power of the blast throws the nearby allied orcs violently into the air. Jagged chunks of rock and earth fly rapidly away from the point of impact. The prince stands firmly as the remaining allied orcs are knocked down and lie stunned on the shadowed ground around him. The Scarlet Lightning enemy orcs, led by a massive general, step forward through the smoke of the previous blast. The general questions whether the prince thought their approach would be a secret. The menacing leader is identified as Kai-chan, general of the Scarlet Lightning tribe. General Kai-chan immediately shouts a commanding order for his soldiers to kill the entire group. The red-skinned enemy soldiers rush forward and immediately begin clashing with the recovering green-skinned allied orcs. The melee begins immediately, as the red-skinned enemy orcs charge into the green-skinned allied soldiers. The chaotic battle continues at close quarters, with orcs trading furious blows with their weapons. Prince Shutra draws a sword and moves toward the center of the fierce battle, preparing to enter the deadly fray himself. In-gong quickly questions the best approach, deciding that the minimum he can do is steal enemy kills to gain much-needed experience points. The demon prince moves swiftly and carefully through the chaotic melee, seeking an opportune moment to strike. With a loud yell, Shutra brings his sword down in a powerful slash, striking a red-skinned enemy orc in his first act of combat. Prince Shutra stares in utter disbelief as his sword shatters into pieces upon striking the enemy orc. The red-skinned enemy orc is revealed to be unharmed and immensely powerful, roaring in rage as red energy pulses around its body. The giant orc winds up for a devastating counterattack, ready to crush the weaponless demon prince. In-gong screams in sheer panic, immediately turning and fleeing the area to escape the giant enraged monster. The demon prince attempts to flee, but his desperate run causes him to stumble hard, kicking up debris. He trips and crashes painfully onto the shattered ground, letting out a sharp cry. A critical red system warning flashes across the screen, showing the prince's health has dropped to a life-threatening 1 GP out of 15. In-gong screams in pure terror at his sudden near-death status. The huge, enraged orc lunges instantly, striking the fallen prince with a devastating blow. Prince Shutra screams in absolute agony as the full force of the giant orc's attack crushes into him. Before the enemy can finish the prince, Carrick rushes in and blocks the massive orc's blow with his own body. Carrick screams at the fallen demon prince to get moving immediately. Shutra looks up at his ally in stunned realization and weakly calls his name. The furious red-skinned enemy redirects its attack, savagely striking Carrick with a torrent of blows, forcing the allied orc to struggle. Shutra looks down at his hands, which are visibly trembling, and attempts to calm himself by repeating the thought that it is just a game. Overwhelmed by the intensity, he decides he cannot continue and wishes to end the session for the day. A system prompt immediately appears, asking if he will go to the menu. The demon prince thinks the game is far too real and scary. He focuses on the menu prompt, confirming his desperate desire to exit the intensely realistic virtual world. Prince Shutra focuses intently on the system menu, determined to find the escape option. The system displays the own skills panel, which states the character currently possesses no abilities. Shutra reacts with confusion, wondering what happened to his unique, overpowered skills. The player scans the primary menu options. He realizes with rising panic that the option to end the game is completely missing. The demon prince pauses in his thoughts, considering a terrifying possibility. In-gong looks around at the chaotic scene and voices the horrifying thought that he might be permanently trapped inside the game world. The perspective changes, briefly showing the red orc boss, and prepares a devastating attack with a glowing red fist. The gigantic orc boss raises its massive weapon high above its head, preparing to deliver a final, devastating blow. A massive column of purple energy slams down onto the player's position. Prince Shutra screams a desperate internal thought, knowing that he cannot allow himself to die in this place. The intense purple energy consumes the demon prince completely. Blood erupts from his body as the final devastating blow is dealt, causing a fatal injury. The final violent impact of the blast dissipates, leaving behind splatters of blood and debris. Despite the fatal blow, Prince Shutra is still standing, heavily panting and alive, his red eyes glowing in the darkness. The huge orc boss stands ready for another strike, but the demon prince remains focused on the enemy, his breathing labored. The furious orc boss lunges forward, roaring as it unleashes another powerful attack with its glowing red weapon. A final status box appears in the blackness, confirming the prince's health has dropped to 0 GP out of 15. The demon prince finds himself standing alone in a dark, empty void, illuminated by a faint blue light beneath his feet. Prince Shutra looks around the black space, questioning his location, knowing he was definitely defeated by the massive orcs. His face fills with horror as he considers the possibility that he might actually be dead in the real world. Prince Shutra turns sharply, startled by a sudden intense burst of golden light behind him. A mysterious, solemn voice declares that the demon prince is the fated existence of this place. Shutra looks completely stunned by the declaration, illuminated by the powerful golden light. The solemn voice issues a direct command to the prince: conquer. The source of the voice is revealed to be a beautiful female entity, floating in golden light. She commands Shutra to enslave and then rule. Overwhelmed by the appearance and the intense command, the demon prince reacts in shocked disbelief. The fierce battle rages on, with the green-skinned allied orcs and the red-skinned enemy orcs locked in a chaotic melee. The enemy forces are clearly gaining the upper hand, overwhelming the allied soldiers who lie injured and defeated on the cavern floor. The orc general stands confidently among his victorious troops, surveying the struggling allied forces. The general expresses contempt that the allies brought only a small number of soldiers, musing if they are simply ignorant or utterly stupid. With grim determination, the general commands his soldiers that there is no need to waste any time, and orders them to kill all remaining allied forces. Prince Shutra questions what caused his sudden return, and wonders if the process was actually a powerful awakening. The orc general stares in disbelief at the location of the enemy leader, asking how the prince is still standing there, standing unharmed in the center of the battlefield. Shutra smiles with confidence, enveloped in a powerful golden aura of unknown energy. As the prince stands in the golden aura, a notification flashes across the screen, confirming the acquisition of the skill Telekinesis Level 1. Shutra reacts with disbelief. The white-haired prince questions when he possibly could have acquired the new telekinesis ability. A shocked realization suddenly dawns on Ingong, widening his eyes. The status screen updates, revealing a new subclass, Knight of Conquest Level 1. Shutra questions the name in surprise. Meanwhile, the furious orc general screams a powerful command to his soldiers to quickly finish off the remaining allied orc. The allied orc, Karak, looks up with a terrified and desperate expression, weakly calling out to the demon prince for aid. The remaining allied orcs rally their defense, shouting commands to protect the prince from the charging red-skinned enemies. They form a desperate shield, loudly reaffirming their duty that the prince must not be harmed by the enemy force. Shutra stands immediately behind the chaotic melee, shielded by his loyal allied orcs who are fiercely clashing with the foe. With a determined look, the prince raises a simple dagger, preparing to finally use his new power against the enemy. Ingong focuses on his subclass, realizing that the Knight of Conquest was not one of the available classes in the original game. He questions why he possesses it. The prince looks up with fierce, glowing eyes, fueled by the mystery of his unique power. Suddenly, he plunges his simple dagger directly into the ground. A massive surge of golden electrical energy immediately erupts from the point of impact. Ingong feels as if he has known this power his entire life. Suddenly, strange spells and knowledge begin to constantly echo in his head. Shutra's eyes glow fiercely as the golden power fully settles within him. The power is then defined by a system message. The power of conquest shall be the power of a king. Prince Shutra leaps into the air from the center of the explosion, declaring the power is now unleashed under the king's banner. The golden energy immediately sweeps across the surrounding allied orcs, covering them completely in the powerful light. A system box confirms the skill, Under the King's Banner Level 1, which provides buff effects to allies within a designated area. The allied orcs roar in unison, their bodies radiating golden power. One exclaims that his strength is suddenly overflowing. Energized by the buff, the allied soldiers immediately shout a command to sweep up the surrounding enemy forces and charge back into the melee. An empowered allied orc lands a fierce, powerful blow on a red-skinned enemy, the strike amplified by the golden energy of the new skill. The buffed allied orcs fight with overwhelming strength, their golden auras signifying the amplified power of the King's Banner skill. Suddenly, the battle turns entirely in favor of the allied soldiers. The buffed green orcs dominate the enemy, swiftly defeating the red-skinned orcs across the battlefield. The orc general stares in alarm at the losing battle, questioning why the allied forces suddenly obtain such strength. Sweat dripping from his face, he dismisses the change in power as utterly absurd. The general surveys the chaotic battlefield where his soldiers are being routed, Looking confused by the speed of the defeat, the orc general suddenly recognizes the figure leading the counterattack. Realizing it is Prince Shutra himself, General Kaichan screams a furious command, summoning massive jagged purple crystals around himself. He orders the demon prince to stop the attack at once. Prince Shutra focuses intently on the general's attack, his eyes burning with fierce resolve. Suddenly, Carrick leaps forward and powerfully smashes the incoming massive purple crystal, shattering it before it can hit the prince. Carrick now stands shield-like directly in front of the prince. The prince looks on, perhaps acknowledging his allied orc's courageous protection. Prince Shutra shouts a fierce command to Carrick. A massive, violent wave of power erupts beneath the prince. Immediately, Carrick follows the command, his huge body covered in the shining golden buff as he charges forward, ready to deliver a devastating attack. The orc general is struck by a wave of power, causing his body to visibly recoil in shock. The general's face is filled with terror as he screams for his attackers to wait a second. Suddenly, the full force of the combined assault connects. The attack is so strong and fast that it instantly decapitates the general, ending the combat immediately. The orc general's body crashes to the ground, instantly silencing the surrounding red-skinned enemy soldiers. Suddenly, the morale of the enemy breaks completely, and the remaining red-skinned orcs turn and begin to flee in disarray. Suddenly, one of the victorious allied orcs stands amidst the chaos and shouts a final powerful command. Do not let a single enemy escape. As the battle ends, a golden system notification appears, declaring that the general's merits are for his king. Immediately, the system registers the immense experience gain. A rapid succession of notifications flashes, confirming the prince has leveled up 3 times. Prince Shutra looks down at the flurry of notifications, completely stunned by the massive gain in levels. Prince Shutra looks astonished by the triple level up, yet questions the game system as to how he could have gained so many levels instantly. Meanwhile, the allied orc Carrick is overwhelmed, staring at his hands as golden energy radiates from them. He questions the exact nature of this newfound strength. A close-up on Carrick's eyes reveals an intense, focused glow, as he fully embodies the power provided by the King's Banner skill. Carrick suddenly turns and looks at the prince with an intense, questioning gaze. Carrick forms a powerful suspicion, wondering if the source of his overflowing strength is directly due to the presence of the demon Prince Shutra. The perspective briefly shows the orc camp, where the allies have returned after their victory. Ingong is now sitting in his tent, surrounded by floating game windows. He confirms his rising panic. The logout button is completely missing from the menu. The demon prince desperately attempts to calm himself, realizing the need to strategize rather than panic in this dangerous situation. Ingong calms himself and begins to analyze his dire situation, finding 2 distinct possibilities. The first possibility is that he is trapped due to a critical bug in the virtual reality, which could eventually be fixed by an official update. The player shifts his focus to a second possibility, acknowledging the thought is insane and terrifying. He considers the horrifying truth that this is not a game at all, but rather a completely new reality. Ingong draws comparisons to novels and comics, musing that he has either entered the world of the game, or, at the very least, a world that closely resembles it. The world possesses a background that can only be described as completely real, confirming the impossibility of it being mere graphics. The non-player characters are able to converse back and forth logically, adding to the layers of realism. The prince prepares to list the most important piece of evidence supporting his final conclusion. Ingong performs one final check on his own body, noting with a dark smirk and alarm that there is absolutely no mosaic censorship present. His eyes widen in extreme terror, immediately questioning the consequence of this realization. Ingong wonders if he is now truly forced to die in this new world. Ingong decides he cannot take the risk of immediately exiting or abandoning this new, dangerous world. The prince takes comfort in the fact that he was not reborn as an orc or ogre. Shutra reminds himself that he is a prince, effectively born with a golden spoon in his mouth in this new world. Suddenly, the allied orc Carrick interrupts his thoughts, peering through the tent flap and asking the prince if he has some time. The scene shifts to the dark camp at night where Shutra questions Carrick, asking why he is suddenly demanding a sparring match. Carrick firmly states his desire for the prince to be his leader, explaining that knowing Shutra's swordsmanship level will help prepare for the future. The prince questions if such a direct assessment is truly necessary for their immediate plans. Ingong draws his weapon, looking surprised by the challenge, but ready to defend himself against the large orc. Carrick confidently assures the prince not to worry, stating he will hold back his strength as much as he can during the spar. Shutra laughs at the orc's confidence, cheekily questioning if that is the appropriate way to speak to a prince of the Demon King. The prince's expression turns serious. Suddenly, he yells that if they are going to fight, Carrick should do it seriously, and he immediately lunges to attack. The rapid, harmless barrage of dagger strikes continues against Carrick's chest. The orc stands utterly amused, feeling the strikes were like a harmless object hitting a rock. Suddenly, Carrick launches his own powerful counterattack, pushing the small prince back violently with a massive strike. Ingong is immediately astonished and shocked by the overwhelming force and power of the orc's physical attack. Shutra sits on the ground, groaning in pain from the impact. Carrick looks down, asking if the prince is all right, and chastising him for hitting so hard suddenly. A system notification flashes, confirming that basic swordsmanship level 1 has been acquired. The demon prince looks up at the notification with confusion, trying to comprehend the origin of the newly gained skill. Shutra reviews the notification, questioning whether he just acquired swordsmanship, and trying to pinpoint the moment it happened. Suddenly, the prince's eye widens as a massive realization hits him. He connects the unexpected swordsmanship skill to the earlier acquisition of telekinesis. Realizing they share a common source, he forms his critical hypothesis. He must acquire skills when he directly experiences an attack with his body. Carrick, deciding the spar is complete, suggests to the prince that they end the match and move on. Shutra immediately challenges the orc, questioning who said the match was actually over. The demon prince takes a sudden, powerful step forward, crushing the ground beneath his boot. Prince Shutra declares with immense confidence that he is only just getting started. Prince Shutra charges forward at immense speed, his eyes burning with renewed resolve as he initiates the sparring match. The small prince deliberately slams his dagger into Carrick's sword. A massive impact shockwave explodes, confirming a simple trade of controlled blows. Carrick looks intently at the prince, noting in surprise that Shutra's movements are already much better now. The orc questions why the prince was so terrible at the beginning of the spar. If he was capable of this skill, Shutra executes a high-speed maneuver, surrounded by dark blue energy, while Carrick doubts that the prince's skill could have suddenly gotten better so fast. Prince Shutra clashes fiercely against Carrick, while a brilliant shockwave of light erupts from the point of contact, slightly forcing the orc back. Shutra moves with overwhelming speed, positioning himself low to the ground and preparing for a rapid follow-up strike. His expression focused and determined, Prince Shutra smiles smugly after the exchange, asking Carrick if the display of skill was not bad. Ingong then asks Carrick a direct question. What is the orc's current level? Carrick responds that the last time he checked his stats, he was approximately level 21. Ingong processes the orc's level of 21, and smugly resolves that he will catch up to that power level soon enough. The protagonist's current level is shown to be level 7, confirming his progress from level 1 despite the slow pace. The central reality of this new world is then revealed. Every single person within it possesses a quantifiable level. Ingong realizes that the people of this world cannot check their levels immediately in a status window like he can. Therefore, the residents must rely on using a special level evaluation spell to assess their own power. Prince Shutra reflects on his enormous advantage. He can see all his stats and instantly reinforce them using skill points, a feature unavailable to others. Prince Shutra leaps high into the air, launching a dynamic overhead attack with his sword aimed directly at the bracing orc, Carrick. Shutra follows up with a lightning-fast flurry of short, swift blows. Prince Shutra smiles confidently, the smirk confirming his internal thought. He can become stronger using his new ability. Suddenly, he negates that simple thought. His true conviction bursts forth. He can become stronger much faster than anyone else in this new world. The sparring match continues fiercely under the night sky. While Shutra fully embraces his new accelerated path to power, the Demon Arc of Night Saga focuses on the story of the villain, Zephyr Ragnaros. This arc follows the villain, detailing how he surpassed all of his siblings to ultimately become the Demon King. The imposing Zephyr Ragnaros is pictured, surrounded by dark demonic forces in the power of a shattered crown forming over his hand. The full story contains many episodes until its end. However, the most important episode is about to be revealed. The story focuses on Zephyr Ragnaros and his path to surpassing his siblings to become the Demon King. This critical event takes place in the year 517. The event marks the moment Zephyr kills all of his siblings in order to achieve his goal of becoming the Demon King. Prince Shutra reflects on the lore, realizing the key word is all, meaning he, as a sibling, will also be killed in the future massacre. He calculates the current year as 512, leaving him some critical time before the massacre in year 517. Therefore, preventing the massacre must immediately become his highest priority. The prince sets his ultimate goal. The best way to survive is to become stronger than the villain, Zephyr Ragnaros himself. Carrick approaches Prince Shutra, asking what he is doing, saying he looked everywhere for him. The prince asks if something happened. The orc reminds Shutra that there is a meeting scheduled for today. Shutra responds with confusion. Karak insists that the prince hurry as everyone is waiting. Shutra is left speechless by the sudden urgency. The meeting takes place within a large, fortified military camp, a setting reinforced by the mountain backdrop. Prince Shutra is now seated at a formal table. He offers a forced, nervous laugh, attempting to mask his true anxiety. Two powerful figures, a dark-haired woman and a huge, muscular man, are seated across from him. Shutra greets them awkwardly, noting their early arrival. The blonde man questions the prince's sudden politeness, telling him to be comfortable since they are siblings. The man is identified as the seventh prince, Chris Moonlight. The dark-haired woman replies that the formality is appropriate since it is their very first time meeting. The woman is identified as the eighth princess, Caitlin Moonlight. Chris Moonlight assures the prince that he can simply call them by their names. Shutra agrees awkwardly, maintaining his nervous composure. The lore reveals the two are the children of Elaine Moonlight, the queen of the lycanthropes, and the Demon King's fourth concubine. Ingong internally notes a critical piece of game lore. The siblings were a formidable and annoying challenge in the original game. A year before the anticipated day of the massacre, tragedy strikes. The lore states these two siblings die at the hands of Zephyr and the Demon King's other children. The specific reason for their death is deeply rooted in Caitlin Moonlight's birth. The secret of the princess's birth is revealed. She is a bastard daughter, a fact hidden within the royal court. Caitlin sternly confronts Prince Shutra, questioning why he fought the enemies without consulting the plan. Since he was only assigned to go on patrol, Shutra offers a quick excuse, claiming he did not know the enemies would come from that specific direction. Caitlin then declares she wants to inspect the prince. Shutra looks back at her in surprise. Caitlin immediately approaches the prince, placing a hand on his shoulder and asking if he is hurt anywhere. Shutra responding with confusion. She sternly reminds him that he is the weakest of them all, insisting he should have been more careful. Ingong offering a nervous apology in response. The focus returns to the table where Shutra internally questions why Caitlin is worried, wondering when the Demon King's children became this close. Chris looks sternly at Shutra, warning him he is in for a real scolding if he does something dangerous again. Shutra agreeing nervously. Shutra is utterly bewildered, internally questioning what is going on, wondering if his supposedly cruel siblings are actually kind. Shutra pauses and adopts a thoughtful expression, having identified a new avenue for growth. Ingong realizes there are many aura users among the lycanthropes, likely due to the strong life force inherent in their race. He determines that by using the same impact learning mechanism, he might easily be able to learn aura skills as well. Shutra addresses Chris, stating he has a favor to ask. Chris reacting with confusion. Suddenly the demon prince leans forward assertively, asking Chris if he can hit Shutra by using aura. Both Caitlin and Chris stare at Shutra in stunned, simultaneous shock at the sudden and audacious message. The perspective changes abruptly, showing a desolate, burnt battlefield under a fiery red sky, punctuated by the sound of chilling laughter. Red-skinned enemy figures overwhelm a single green-skinned orc, while a powerful explosion erupts from the point of contact. The devastating scale of the fight is visible, with many defeated bodies scattered across the ground. Engulfed in the force of the recent explosion, the scene introduces a massive, beast-like red orc, who immediately dominates the area, savagely striking down upon the surrounding figures, while blood and dark energy splatter the scene. The other red orcs are shown roaring, but with expressions of terror, clearly overwhelmed by the brute's devastating, relentless attacks. Suddenly, the powerful red orc lands a swift, critical blow, instantly striking down one of the other red orcs with terrifying ease. A smaller red orc attempts a desperate attack, slashing the hand of the dominant red orc brute, while the massive figure shows absolutely no reaction to the blow. The brute's eyes burn with a terrifying red glow as it looks menacingly at its tiny opponent, emphasizing the immense power disparity. The smaller red orc screams in sheer terror, realizing his attack was futile and his death is now certain. The massive red orc brute roars, smashing the ground with absolutely giant force, which immediately creates a colossal red and white shockwave. The brute bellows a fierce command to kill them all, promising to reward the soldier who manages to achieve the most kills. The green orc allies roar with renewed excitement and aggression, charging immediately into the melee. Suddenly, the battle explodes with intensity, with the orange glow of the fiery sky illuminating the chaotic landscape, while the green orcs rush forward, meeting the enemy in a fierce clash. The perspective changes abruptly, showing Shutra standing alone in a blue-lit void, looking around in confusion. The powerful gold-glowing female entity from before reappears dramatically, looking straight at the prince and beginning a declaration about his origin. Dark, jagged outlines of two people rush past the prince, while he remains frozen in shock. Shutra stares at the terrifying figures who have materialized from the dark outlines, questioning who they could be. Ingong realizes he does not recall these powerful characters being in the original Night Saga game lore. Suddenly, the gold-glowing entity steps forward, while Shutra reacts with surprise at the entity's action. Shutra stares upward, his expression showing utter shock and awe at the gold-glowing entity's presence. A brilliant, overwhelming surge of golden light immediately erupts from the entity, engulfing the entire void and the prince in a wash of pure energy. Shutra suddenly wakes up, now lying in the bed, looking confused and questioning if the entire terrifying experience was merely a dream. The prince holds his head in distress. Carrick leans over the prince to see if he is awake. Shutra screaming in terror at the orc's sudden proximity. The prince jumps back in alarm, telling Carrick he scared him. Carrick responding calmly that Shutra seems fine now. Carrick immediately asks the prince why he previously asked Caitlin to hit him. The orc criticizes Shutra, implying he was whining and noting the negative outcome of his behavior. Suddenly, Shutra stares at the shimmering golden particles in confusion, Carrick looking away as he finishes his reprimand. Suddenly, a massive system notification appears, confirming that Shutra has successfully obtained Aura Level 1. The prince exclaiming he can feel the power. Carrick, clearly confused, questions if a person can awaken their aura simply by getting hit with it. Shutra confirming that this is somewhat the case. Carrick connects the dots, questioning if Shutra's sudden burst of energy during the Lightning Tribe fight was also for the same reason. Shutra casually confirming that was the case. Carrick reacts with understanding, finally making sense of the prince's bizarre actions on the battlefield. Shutra asks the accompanying orc if anything happened while he was sleeping, the orc confirming that events certainly transpired. Shutra is informed that the main force also won against the Lightning Tribe, the prince questioning what this main force is. Shutra tells Carrick he thought he, Chris and Caitlin were the only ones there to take down the enemy, Carrick asking in disbelief if the prince knows the sheer size of that tribe. Shutra then asks who was in charge of the operation. Carrick reveals the leader of the main force is General Bandal, Shutra reacting with surprise and questioning the name. Ingong recognizes the name, stating that General Bandal is widely known as one of the strongest people in the world. The general is a huge, imposing, red-skinned orc. The prince admits he personally liked using Bandal as a subordinate when he played the game as Zephyr. Shutra pauses with an intensely focused expression, realizing that this newly discovered situation might be his great opportunity. He instantly recalls the lore. Bandal becomes Zephyr's subordinate in the year 515. The demon prince determines that since the current year is 512, Bandal is not yet under Zephyr's command. Ingong smiles maniacally, realizing this means he has time to secure the powerful general for himself first. Ingong reaffirms his strategic advantage. He knows all there is to know about the powerful general. This knowledge includes the rewards he likes to receive, his favorite food, and all of his unique talents. However, the prince emphasizes the single most important part required to successfully bring the general to his side is about to be revealed. The critical requirement is to defeat General Bandal in a personal duel. Ingong's eye gleams with fierce determination, reaffirming his confidence based on his extensive game knowledge. He determines that by utilizing this knowledge, he should be able to secure Bandal as his subordinate before Zephyr does. The prince concludes the risky move is worth trying. Knowing he still has over 2 years before the critical deadline, he declares the general's immediate future. "You are going to be my subordinate." The perspective shifts to Caitlin's camp. A figure exclaims in shock, reacting to a startling new development. Shutra stands with his 2 siblings, demonstrating a glowing blue orb of energy in his hand. Chris stares in utter disbelief, questioning how Shutra reached the first level of aura expulsion in just 1 day. Shutra smiles confidently, reflecting that this rapid progress is a given since he put all his skill points into aura. He defends his decision, noting it was not rash, while recognizing that aura generally improves one's physical abilities. Ingong concludes that focusing on physical growth is actually better than having the limited utility of telekinesis. Chris stares in utter shock, exclaiming Shutra's progress is impossible, while questioning if it is due to the prince being a Gandharva. Chris quickly pivots, asking Shutra if he possesses the ability to create an underground map. Shutra responding with a question about the map type. Shutra internally notes he cannot create a map, but possesses minimap data he can share. To hide his system, he quickly asks Chris for pen and paper. The map data Shutra transferred is laid out on the table. Chris is utterly shocked, exclaiming that the transferred map is far more detailed than his own. Chris turns to the prince and enthusiastically calls him a genius, Shutra laughing awkwardly at the unexpected and intense praise. Chris points out that since the Scarlet Lightning Tribe officers are all dead, The enemy forces won't know anything about the underground tunnels. Caitlin confirms the strategic value of the map, stating they should be able to ambush the enemy if they utilize the tunnels. Chris then refocuses, addressing Shutra to inform him that there is something else he needs the prince to do. Shutra looking up, patiently awaiting his next assignment. The setting changes to a beautiful mountainous terrain under a clear sky. Shutra stands before a large contingent of orc reinforcements, questioning if their mission is merely to patrol the area again. Ingong internally sighs, acknowledging he has no choice but to accept the mission, as he is currently his sibling's errand boy. The orc praises the successful acquisition of reinforcements, noting it is all thanks to their hard work. Shutra awkwardly agreeing to the assessment. Suddenly the patrol is interrupted as two figures dressed in dark hooded cloaks appear. Shutra looking up in confusion. The cloaked figures reveal themselves to be two young women, one of whom is Caitlin. Shutra questions the women about their strange hooded attire. Caitlin immediately hushing him in response. Caitlin explains her secretive presence, stating she is following the patrol just in case something happens to the prince. Suddenly she sets a condition. She will only step in if things become truly dangerous, as the matter should be solved by Shutra's own accomplishment. Ingong is utterly confused by her willingness to offer aid, internally questioning if his sister is stupid for being so supportive. The prince then repeating the phrase, "my accomplishment," with a curious smirk. The second hooded woman introduces herself as Sarah, the adjutant, Shutra replying awkwardly to the greeting. Sarah confirms they will keep up with the patrol secretly, telling the prince not to worry about them. Shutra agreeing to the arrangement. The patrol resumes its path through the beautiful mountain landscape. The patrol enters a massive cold cavern system filled with jagged rock formations. The group proceeds deeper into the cold cavern, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Shutra questions the emptiness of the cavern system, as if he expected to find something left behind. The prince notes that people do not typically abandon valuables when moving, assuming the dwarves took everything with them before they left. Shutra questions the status of the weapons they retrieved last time, the orc responding that those particular items must not have been considered valuable. Ingong agrees with the assessment, accepting the strange implication. The patrol group, illuminated by the light of their torches, proceeds deeper into the dark cavern interior. An allied orc alerts the prince that he hears something coming their way. Shutra confirming that he hears the approaching sound as well. Suddenly, Shutra's constantly active minimap appears, showing a dense cluster of red dots moving rapidly toward their position. The prince stares at the digital display with alarm, realizing the approaching figures must be the target enemy group. Shutra instantly accesses his digital inventory window, confirming the presence of his items. Ingong recalls that he took the flash spell item just in case a critical situation like this arose. Holding the flash spell flask, Shutra instructs the orc to tell everyone to close their eyes when he gives the signal. The orc looking confused. The group quickly moves to take cover near the cavern entrance, awaiting the enemy's arrival. The entrance darkens, revealing a terrifying sight. A multitude of glowing red eyes belonging to the approaching enemy figures. The first enemy emerges, a terrifying, grotesque, spider-like creature made of stone and chitin. The enemy is identified as a stone spider, known to appear in dozens, and possessing a very strong paralysis poison. Prince Shutra immediately gives the critical command to the allied soldiers. "Now, close your eyes." The prince immediately throws the flash spell flask hard onto the cavern floor, while the allied orcs quickly cover their eyes as commanded. The flask shatters on impact, releasing an intense, blinding golden-white flash of light that instantly engulfs the entire area, striking the advancing stone spiders, causing immediate disarray. The grotesque stone spiders scream in agony, their sensitive eyes unable to withstand the intense, sudden burst of light. Prince Shutra reveals the key strategic information. Stone spiders are defenseless when exposed to bright light, because they live permanently in the dark. Shutra capitalizes on the advantage, shouting the command for everyone to attack and kill the spiders. Roaring their approval, the allied orcs charge past the defenseless, stunned spiders. Executing the prince's command, the allied orcs begin to savagely cut down the helpless stone spiders, easily dispatching the momentarily blinded monsters. The orcs dominate the combat, quickly sweeping the cavern floor with wide, powerful strikes. Prince Shutra stands calmly amidst the fighting, observing his allies secure the decisive victory he orchestrated. Prince Shutra analyzes the minimap, which still displays a cluster of red dots, indicating more enemies are nearby. Ingong internally notes a key piece of lore. Stone spiders always hunt together in large groups. The map view expands, revealing a single, larger, glowing red dot. Shutra concluding that the groups are bound to have a powerful leader. Prince Shutra shouts a fierce command to Carrick, stating they will go after the boss. Carrick agreeing immediately. The duo immediately charges forward, dashing past the smaller stone spiders who are scattered and unable to mount an effective defense. Shutra and Carrick continue their focused two-man assault, ready to engage the large, powerful stone spider leader. The duo confronts the stone spider boss, a colossal, grotesque creature with multiple eyes and razor-sharp teeth. Shutra and Carrick immediately take their battle stance, Carrick shouting as he charges forward to meet the massive monster head-on. Carrick executes a powerful leap, striking the colossal boss with his weapon. The impact generates a massive, shattering blue shockwave, while the boss remains largely unfazed. Carrick looks up at the immense power of his own strike, reacting with wide-eyed shock and confusion as he realizes how ineffective his attack was. The attack leaves only a small crack on the boss's rocky exterior, illustrating its formidable defense. Shutra instantly recalls the crucial game lore, realizing he forgot that Carrick's axe will not pierce the stone spider boss's hard exoskeleton. Shutra instantly recalls the boss's critical weakness, fire. He realizes, however, that he cannot use fire magic yet himself. The colossal boss growls menacingly, preparing to counterattack the duo. Suddenly, Shutra is struck with a crucial idea, looking at Carrick as the solution to their fire problem. Shutra shouts the strategic command to Carrick to use fire, since the boss is weak to it. Carrick, looking back in disbelief and questioning where he is supposed to get fire. An outside voice urgently instructs Shutra to raise his sword. The prince raises his weapon high above his head, and it immediately ignites with a blazing golden fire, transforming his simple sword into a glowing weapon of flame. Shutra stares in shock, realizing that the new power being deployed is genuine magic. Caitlin is the one casting the fire spell, questioning if that amount of magic is sufficient. Shutra exclaiming her name in surprise at the magnitude of her power. The colossal stone spider boss lunges aggressively towards the prince, brandishing a terrifying razor-sharp leg for a direct strike. Shutra stands firm, preparing to meet the charge, while his fiery weapon glows intensely with the combined magical power he received. Shutra's eyes remain focused, but he lets out a startled gasp as the boss's attack comes dangerously close. The colossal stone spider boss delivers a strong impact attack, slamming the ground nearby, and instantly creating a massive blue and white shockwave that shatters the cavern floor. Prince Shutra launches himself forward with astonishing speed, leaving white energy trails in his wake, preparing to swing his fiery golden sword in a powerful, devastating counterattack. Prince Shutra executes the burning blade attack with ferocious speed, unleashing the powerful golden flames, which instantly set the colossal monster ablaze with a few devastating swings. The colossal monster continues to burn violently, engulfed completely by the intense golden flames of the attack. Prince Shutra stands calmly amidst the aftermath, observing the monster consumed by the powerful blaze. Prince Shutra is in awe as the golden hue engulfs him, the system confirming he is leveled up twice. Prince Shutra stares in awe at his status window, confirming his massive progress by reaching level 9. Suddenly, Caitlin approaches, questioning if the prince is all right, and asking about the mysterious light. Shutra responding evasively to his sister. Shutra invents a quick lie, saying the light is a blessing that happens sometimes. Caitlin questioning if it comes from the Gandharva race. Shutra agreeing awkwardly. Caitlin praises Shutra for his skillful fighting, noting the defeated creatures were quite difficult opponents. Shutra provides a humble cover story, claiming he just read about the enemies in books. His internal monologue reveals the truth. He knows exactly how they work from fighting them countless times in the game. The patrol continues through the caverns. Carrick stops the group, pointing forward and directing the prince to look over there. Shutra questioning the sudden halt. The group discovers a massive, ornate metal door built directly into the cavern wall, which Carrick notes appears to be some sort of entrance. Shutra and Carrick enter the gate they discovered, revealing a huge circular hall. They stand inside, ready to explore, while Caitlin and Sarah follow. Shutra looks around the new hall in confusion, starting to realize the true nature of the structure. The structure is revealed to be a massive glowing portal on the floor. Shutra concludes the structure must be an active town portal. Carrick asks the prince if he knows what the portal is. Shutra replying evasively that he only has a guess. Ingong focuses on the portal's design, recognizing the pattern as distinctively dwarven style. He recalls game lore. When he played as the villain Zephyr, he never once encountered such a portal. However, when Ingong played as the hero, he saw the portal pattern a few times, linking its existence to the hero's quest line. Shutra stands before a small control pedestal and hypothesizes that the device activates if one injects mana into it. Caitlin approaches the prince, Shutra informing her that he believes the structure is a portal, Caitlin questioning the very idea of a portal. Sarah agrees that the portal's design suggests Shutra is correct about its nature. Caitlin asking if they can find out where the structure is connected to. The two women conclude that searching nearby should reveal some telling inscriptions about the portal's destination. Suddenly, Carrick calls out to the prince, pointing to a wall and noting that there are letters carved there. Shutra responding with confusion. Caitlin and Shutra move closer to the wall to examine the carved script. The inscription is clearly not the common demon script, but Shutra recognizes it as looking like dwarven characters. Carrick immediately asks Caitlin if she can read the unfamiliar script. Caitlin quickly responding by questioning why she would know dwarven language. Carrick turns and asks Sarah if she can read the inscription. Sarah apologizing that she cannot either. Suddenly, Shutra translates the inscription, revealing the portal destination, Gishka Mountains. Portal number 2. Shutra continues the translation, revealing the portal is also connected to portal number 3. The rest of the group listening intently. Prince Shutra stares in shock at the discovery, questioning how he is able to read the dwarven language. Suddenly, a golden system notification flashes, confirming that he has acquired dwarven language level 1. Shutra stares at the plaque with wide eyes, realizing he can acquire languages simply by experiencing them. Carrick stares at the prince in astonishment, questioning if he can truly read the script. Shutra replying cautiously that he thinks he can. Caitlin is stunned by the revelation, questioning when Shutra learned dwarven, while Sarah quickly asks what the rest of the inscription says. Shutra concentrates and translates the next line, revealing the portal's activation method. It will activate if someone infuses mana into it. Shutra immediately asks Caitlin to inject a small amount of mana into the portal. Caitlin questioning why he doesn't do it himself. Shutra offers a clumsy excuse, claiming he is still clumsy with mana, while internally confessing that he cannot actually use mana at all. Caitlin steps forward and injects mana into the small crystal pedestal, immediately causing the control mechanism to glow brightly. The crystal surges with intense radiant blue energy, confirming the successful activation of the dwarven device. A massive digitized hologram of a geographical map erupts from the crystal. Shutra staring in astonishment, recognizing the map as the Gishka Mountains. The group analyzes the map, determining that a specific dot represents their current location, while another point signifies the location of portal number 3. Shutra hypothesizes that the area must also contain more dwarven tunnels, the other character agreeing that it is highly probable. Carrick confirms the strategic benefit, questioning if it is good that the main force of the Scarlet Lightning tribe is stationed in those mountains. Shutra immediately affirming that this location allows them to strike the enemy from behind. Shutra decides they should stop for the day and return to camp, stating he needs to discuss this new intelligence carefully with his brother Chris. They are now back at the camp. Chris expresses disbelief that an important portal could be hidden in such an unassuming place. Chris is overjoyed by the discovery, exclaiming that Shutra is a real blessing. Shutra awkwardly denying the praise while trying to pull away. Chris smiles warmly, making a grand offer to the prince. If there is anything Shutra wants, he will grant it, as long as it is within his power. Shutra attempts to decline the reward, saying he is fine. Chris insisting that as his leader and older brother, he has a duty to reward the prince. Chris delivers a final manipulative line, saying that refusing the reward would hurt his feelings. Shutra being left speechless by the emotional trap. Shutra accepts the offer but nervously asks if his request is permissible, even if it is a bit unreasonable. Chris is intrigued by the use of the word unreasonable, stating that it makes him even more curious about the request. Shutra stammers nervously, preparing himself to voice his desired reward. The prince finally makes his audacious request. He asks Chris to teach him the beast god fist art. Chris stares in utter shock and disbelief at the audacity of the prince's requested technique. Ingong reasons that he can't wield weapons properly yet due to his low level. He quickly adds that powerful techniques, however, are different and are not level-gated. The beast god fist art is revealed to be a powerful S-rank martial art passed down exclusively through the lycanthrope royal family. Shutra internally acknowledges the request is ridiculous and states he would understand if Chris refuses. The prince voices his low expectations to Chris, stating the request might be difficult, and he figured it would not be possible. Chris remaining silent and listening intently. Shutra smiles widely, listening to Chris's response. The prince left speechless by the immediate acceptance of the request. Chris immediately clarifies the terms, stating that while he will teach the art, he cannot teach the techniques considered secret within the royal family. Shutra questions the seriousness of the training offer, Chris replying that he can at least teach the prince the martial art of aura. Chris asks Shutra if this limited training offer is a good enough gift, the prince remaining speechless in surprise and calculation. Chris misinterprets the silence, saying that Shutra must not like the reward. Shutra instantly bursts out of his silence, vehemently denying that he dislikes the gift, proclaiming that the limited training offer is absolutely perfect. Chris calls out Shutra's name, drawing the prince's immediate attention and surprise. Chris looks at the prince with a serious expression and asks for clarification if he can think of Shutra as his true brother from now on. Shutra is stunned, repeating the word brother as he processes the emotional depth of Chris's request. Ingong internally reflects that the term is a significantly meaningful word, understanding the shift in their relationship. The focus shifts to Chris's intense blue eye, confirming the sincerity and emotional weight behind his powerful request. Shutra accepts the proposition, resolving his internal conflict by stating that he rather likes the idea of the new familial bond. He gives a simple, final affirmation. Chris steps forward and shakes Shutra's hand, while Caitlin observes, solidifying the newly formed and surprising bond between the three siblings. The three siblings, Chris, Caitlin, and Shutra, stand together in a show of newfound, confident unity. Shutra smiles confidently, looking straight at his siblings and stating their plan moving forward. Let's work together from now on. A definitive system notification flashes before the prince, confirming that an alliance is established with Chris and Caitlin Moonlight. The alliance status is clearly marked as a normal alliance for now, solidifying the current political relationship. The perspective shifts abruptly to a hostile, dry, mountainous region under a gloomy orange sky. A large, heavily fortified military camp is revealed, identified as the Scarlet Lightning Tribe encampment. Massive, fierce red orcs patrol the camp, confirming the high level of threat within the enemy territory. Inside a red-lit tent, a leading orc figure speaks with suspicion, noting that the captive should not have come near this encampment from the start. He dramatically addresses the captive, a woman kneeling within a magical circle, as our princess. The captive is revealed to be a pale, dark-haired woman identified as the sixth princess, Felicia Doomblade, the orc finishing his question, asking what brings her here.